Hello friends, let's start today's class with a topic that I think is necessary at the geopolitical crossroads the world is experiencing today. And the person we're putting on the table, the one we're going to share with you, is Donald Jr. Trump, the Messiah and the Third Temple. That's going to be the topic. Actually, it's three topics: Donald Trump, the Messiah, and the third theme. That will be the first thing we'll put on the table in today's Shibboleth. Thanks for sharing this class with me. I think it's a good moment. So you can let your friends, your contacts know that this is the topic nobody should miss. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, then do it right now. Ring the bell. Don't forget to ring the bell so you don't miss anything, absolutely anything I'm going to tell you about Trump. The Messiahs and the Third Temple. Let's start with Trump in today's class. Donald Trump was born on June 14th, 1946 in Queens County, New York, Borough of Queens, in New York, United States of America. So he is a New Yorker. That's how we got it. Before entering politics, Trump was a businessman and even a television personality, known for his work in real estate and that famous show, The Apprentice, which you all will remember, television series that captivated the American audience. Watching the contestants compete for a chance to work in one of Donald Trump's companies. The show aired in 2004 for the first time and was very successful. And he was known for that famous phrase, "You are fired, you are fired, you're fired," pronounced by Trump to eliminate contestants. At a certain point in his business career, Donald Jr. Trump decides to enter the political arena, and he was hugely successful when, as practically an unknown, he won the elections in that year, no less than against Mrs. Hillary Clinton. And the Clinton woman with a tremendous political track record. She had spent 8 years in the White House as the wife of President Bill Clinton, and 4 more years Secretary of State during Barack Obama's administration. Against all odds, Trump won the election and took office on January 20th, 2017, stayed in the White House until January 20th, 2021. I'm not going to talk about everything Donald Trump could do as president. It is something everyone can look up and verify you yourselves, but I do want to highlight the topic that's under discussion, namely Donald Trump, the Messiah, and the Third Temple. Look, during his presidency, Donald Trump wasn't involved in any major wars. For the first time in history, a president of the United States managed to cross the border between North and South Korea and shake hands with the North Korea president, thus reducing the possibility of a nuclear escalation in the Far East. On the other hand, during his presidency, Putin remained calm, well-grounded, we'd say, in time and space, more space actually, seeking to establish the best possible relations with Donald Trump. Also during his presidency, the president of China was received at Mar-a-Lago, an official residence, almost like a second White House, we'd say, from President Trump in West Palm Beach in Florida, United States, right here close to us. During his presidency, Donald Trump managed to defeat one of Israel's most serious enemies in the Middle East, ISIS, that famous movement. Extremist group ISIS is completely wiped off the face of the earth. And also, during his presidency, the United States recognized the Golan Heights, right? The Golan Heights. As territory belonging to Israel during his presidency, the Trump administration adopted a tough stance against Iran. Withdrew the United States from the agreement, the famous nuclear deal of 2015, imposed much harsher sanctions against Iran. And as a result of that policy, extremely tough, harsh against Iran, Donald Trump made it collapse, practically, literally made it collapse. The economic power of Iran, so Putin continue funding the terrorist proxies in the Middle East to attack Israel, like such as Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis in Yemen, etc. And also during his presidency, the United States Embassy in Israel, it was moved from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, where it is now located. During Donald Trump's presidency, a peace treaty was also established and normalization of very important diplomatic relations between Israel and various Arab countries. That first agreement was signed, it feels like I am seeing it with my own eyes, on September 15th, 2020, at the White House with the mediation of President Trump. The first countries to sign that agreement with Israel were the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, later Sudan joined, and then Morocco also signed that agreement. The Abraham Accords, as that initiative was called, suggests eventually establishing diplomatic relations with all the Arab countries in the Middle East and Israel, including opening embassies, full economic cooperation among all members of that alliance. Think about it. With Trump in charge, it's the first time in more than 25 years. In more than 25 years, for Arab countries to establish diplomatic relations with Israel, as had happened with Jordan and with Egypt in 1994 and in 1979, this deal, promoted by Donald Trump, brought the hope for peace to Israel, opening enormous possibilities for collaboration in areas such as tourism, technology, education, and cultures. In fact, Trump's first foreign trip as president, it included a visit to Israel, among other places like Jerusalem, to the Temple Wall. Imagine that, to the Temple Wall, to the Western Wall. And of course, our United States Embassy in the Holy Land, with the high officials of the Israeli government at the time, as it was. Their President Reuven Rivlin and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Now, think about this. Since its foundation in 1948, Trump became the first sitting president of the United States to visit the Wailing Wall in Jerusalem. That was definitely an extraordinary gesture, a brave gesture, unique in history, whose images went viral on all social media of the civilized world. Trump delivered speeches, statements where he reiterated the United States' commitment to Israel's security and the pursuit of peace in the entire region. And he also expressed his hope in the peace process between Israelis and Arab Palestinians in the region. On numerous occasions, the President Donald Jr. Trump has expressed his full support for Israel, And the sympathy this has generated in Israel is immense. During Trump's presidency, Israel lived safely within its borders, and there were no wars, not even significant skirmishes in the Middle East between Israel and its neighbors. When you put all this into perspective, you realize how important these first 4 years of Donald Jr. Trump's presidency have been for Israel, with decorations, gold medals in his honor, photos, posters of Trump all over Israel and especially in Jerusalem. It's clear, very clear, that Donald Jr. Trump, he was chosen to promote that Israel's enemies are now its friends, and it also opens a huge door for construction. The expansion of that alliance, the alliance of the children of Abraham, and the promotion of peaceful coexistence between Arabs and Israelis. So I think you heard what I said. I said the chosen one, and we can't use another word. He's been chosen to seek peace for Israel, and this is what many in Israel did, linking it to King Cyrus the Great, the one who allowed the Babylonian exile to end in the 6th century before the birth of Yeshua, facilitating the return of all the Jews that were in Babylon, that they could now return home and provide the resources, not only giving permission, but also providing the resources for the reconstruction of the Second Temple by placing on a coin the image of Cyrus the Great and Donald John Trump, the 45th President of the United States. You'll be able to understand. Why have some said that Donald Trump could be considered the Messiah? That coin, the famous coin, can still be purchased on Amazon. Furthermore, some have made it worth the value of the half shekel of silver to support the community sacrifices of the temple when the temple of Jerusalem was still standing. So just like the great King Cyrus, who facilitated the reconstruction of the Second Temple, Donald John Trump, once he wins the elections in 2024, he could also be considered the Messiah of the Third Temple. Interestingly, in the Hebrew Bible, Cyrus the Great, identified as Koresh in the Bible, is seen as a Messiah. He's seen as an anointed one. You can read it yourself in Isaiah chapter 45, verse 1. You have it there on your smart screen. It clearly states here, Ko Amar Adonai Lim Shiko Le Koresh. Yes, the Eternal, thus says the Eternal, to his anointed Cyrus. So look how in the Hebrew text, HASHEM calls Cyrus the great Lamashiko, my anointed one, my Messiah. And he's called him that because he was an instrument of the Eternal to facilitate the Jews' return from Babylonian exile to the Holy Land and facilitate as well the reconstruction of the Second Temple. The big question is, will Donald J. Trump, when he wins the next elections, facilitate the return of the remaining Jews still in exile and the reconstruction of the Third Temple and receive the title of Mashiach granted by the government, by the state of Israel? You're going to be amazed by my answer, but that will be in my next class, which you won't want to miss for anything in the world. And to make sure that doesn't happen to you right now, without further ado, grab your phone, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell so we can notify you when the next class on this particularly interesting topic starts. Donald Trump Jr., the Messiah, and the Third Temple. See you in the next class.